A veteran we followed back to Vietnam in 2017 found the trip triggered an immediate impact. He made new friends and found a new peace. 5 years later, we reconnect and learn that war veteran is facing a new fight.
The kids loved us.
The kids loved you.
Yeah.
Watching video of himself from 5 years ago inside an overseas orphanage triggers fond memories for Vietnam veteran Frank Vollmer.
What stands out to you about those children?
The children themselves were very independent, and they accepted us as friends with no hesitation at all.
The first time Frank set foot in Vietnam, his commercial jet landed in the middle of a firefight.
Smoke was coming up around the perimeter, and we could see the napalm going off. Yeah, it was an eye-opener, and, you know, all of a sudden it became very real. It wasn't on a newscast anymore.
Before making a return journey in 2017, Frank explained his two main motivations for going back 50 years after his war service.
I'd like to try to get some peace of mind.
Off duty, Frank used to visit an orphanage in Da Nang. He helped build playground equipment and handed out clothing sent from the States by family members. But during a nighttime attack on his airbase, that orphanage was also bombed, and Frank witnessed the aftermath.
And we couldn't get out there for a while. And when we did, we had learned that there were casualties with the kids and all that.
The death of Dwayne Heiser in Vietnam was the reason Frank volunteered for combat duty. The childhood friends grew up together in Buffalo, New York. They joined the service together. But after Dwayne was killed, when Frank went to pay his respects to the family, its patriarch blamed Frank for getting Dwayne into the Army and eventually for the death of his friend.
He's yelling at me to get off their porch, that it was my fault Dwayne was killed. That hurt.
Post-traumatic stress from the loss of his friend, followed by the deaths of those children, haunted Frank for decades.
I'm on medications morning and night. I still get counseled at least once a month.
On his return trip to Vietnam, Frank struck up a new, lasting friendship with a new orphanage in Da Nang.
And I overheard you have your good night's sleep. First time in how long?
Probably over 20 years.
Wow.
And on a mountain overlooking his old air base, he formed a new bond with fellow veterans, helping him come to terms with the loss of his childhood friend.
Let it go, brother. We made it out of here.
Was it a healing trip for you, Frank?
Yes.
You mentioned before the trip that you'd suffered PTSD and you'd been taking medication for that.
Yes.
Did that continue after the trip?
It did on a lesser, lower level basis.
Do you still suffer from PTSD?
Yes, I do.
How does it manifest itself? What happens? Do you have nightmares?
I have nightmares, but it's to a lesser extent.
It didn't sound like you were sleeping very well before the trip. It sounds like you slept really well after that trip.
That's true.
Why do you think that is?
I think we made peace with each other as far as soldier to soldier, and also from enemy to actually friend or neighbor.
During a recent conversation, Frank openly shared the new health fights he is facing. An accident took his eye. He's now in a wheelchair, and at age 75, his memories are fading.
Parts of the trip have melted away.
Do you suffer from a little dementia?
I think so.
When I say the name Dwayne, what comes to your mind?
I don't know.
With some prompting, memories of his old friend return.
Dwayne was killed in Vietnam.
Yes.
Where was he from?
He was from North Buffalo.
You grew up together.
Yes.
Still miss him.
Yeah.
Facing ghosts is what motivated Frank Vollmer to return to Vietnam.
What did the trip back mean to you?
Well, the trip back meant that we met new friends from our travels, as well as meeting new veterans who later became close friends.
One footnote on our trip, we want to recognize the passing of Howard Shouty in November of 2020. A chance encounter in a hotel lobby gave this veteran a goosebump moment, and you can watch his story right now on our Service and Sacrifice page at WBIR.com. Let's move to the forecast and more of those rain showers.